you do on Twitter? What do you kids do on Twitter? What kind of meme-themed disses go on Twitter? Hang on, let me translate what he just said, if you didn't understand it. What made you say to yourself, I'm gonna put this on Twitter? Huh? Why would you put this on Twitter? What made you think to yourself that would be a good idea, huh? What happened? Why am I on the floor? What happened, dude? Stop it.
Well, zoinks. The cope and seethe is in maximum overdrive in what can only be described as one of the most bizarre stories of 2022. Now, certainly, a certain individual is just clout chasing, desperate to get his name in the same headline as Joe Rogan. But ultimately, who am I to criticize that? I'll be putting his name and Joe Rogan in the title, and hopefully a lot of people will watch the video. This is, in some ways, how this all works. Make no mistake about it. January is by far the lowest ad rate month, significantly so. And news is slow. So when news is slow, sometimes YouTubers create news. That's why you see so much drama in the month of January. And that's, in my opinion, exactly what Ethan Klein is doing. He, of course, loves himself some drama and a good grudge. Most of this, in my opinion, stems from two different events. Firstly, it was Joe Rogan making fun or poking fun at Hila for being double poked and still wearing a mask outside. Now, Joe Rogan didn't know who she was at the time, but hey, as a man, I understand the, the drive, the inclination to want to defend your wife. And so I won't, hold that necessarily against him, but I will point out that it's pretty obvious that's what's driving a lot of this cringe arguments. If you go back to, when was this? Back in May of this year, there was, Rogan praised Hollywood actresses. UFC commentator continue to argue, they're talking about a picture that was being took. And it said the discussion popped up during JRE episode when Joe Rogan and Whitney reacted to a clip of a live comedy show being performed outdoors. The Spotify host immediately pointed out that one person in the crowd was still wearing a mask. Who's wearing a mask? The Spotify host asked. That's Hila Klein, Whitney replied. Rogan then praised Hollywood actress Olivia Munn for not wearing one. Olivia's not. She's gangster. Look at her. She's in the front row, she said before launching into a rant about masks. Look at these people are outside with their mask on, and everyone is tested. That is so dumb. The UFC commentator continued to argue why they were unnecessary. Even the CDC says you could take it off when you're outside. Look, and of course, after the clip surfaced on the H3H3 subreddit, fans of the YouTube duo immediately became furious. That's what they do. Popular pop culture journalist Loser Noodles covered the backlash that spilled out in social media. While fans were angry with Rogan's take, many H3 fans were enraged when Whitney Cummings, who had been a repeat guest and friend of the H3 podcast, was not defending Hila. Why didn't you defend Hila? One user wrote. Another wrote, really sad to see you turn into such a mean girl towards other women. Look, who cares? The mask thing, look, I played in a darts league, for example, okay? And there isn't a single person in the bar wearing a mask. Most of the people that are afraid to go out just stay home. But there's a guy on another team that we played last night. Everybody knows who he is, and he's always wearing his mask. And you know how many people make fun of him? Zero. Because who cares? Plus, he's an incredible shot. But also, like, who cares? If you want to wear one because it makes you feel safe or makes you feel, whatever, who cares? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's the people who have this air of superiority. We know, who we're talking about. And I don't think Klein is one of them, but certainly Joe ribbing her, had a major effect. Then yesterday, the articles started flowing out. This article, obese YouTuber criticizes Joe Rogan's health choices. Resident YouTube blowhard Ethan Klein took aim at a popular podcaster and host Joe Rogan on Tuesday, criticizing for his health and other advice. It was not well received. This from prominent grifter and liar Ian Miles Chung over on Post Millennial. Ian had a hilarious lie yesterday about getting banned from PayPal over his political opinions. I may make a video about it. I may not. But anyway, unable to grasp the irony of his statement, Klein, who is known as H3H3 Productions, decided it was his turn to be Twitter's main character by misrepresenting Rogan's views. His remarks were undoubtedly in response to the podcast's recent platforming of Dr. Robert Malone. That's the second reason that I mentioned earlier. A scientist who contributed to the development of certain, poke technologies. Like many others on the political left, Klein sought to enjoin his voice in the growing legion of those suffering from psychosis with a dishonest appraisal of Joe Rogan. We see the tweet, of course. This article here, YouTuber, I don't even know why I read that article. That guy's a fraud. Anyway, YouTuber Ethan Klein mocked for accusing Joe Rogan of fueling poke hesitancy. Look, Joe Rogan, certainly maybe that's the case. But you know what I think actually fuels it more? Because I talk to regular people. I don't live in a Beverly Hills mansion like Ethan Klein. I actually talk to people. I hang out with locals. I know what people are saying. And you know how many people have told me, well, Joe Rogan says 0. Do you know how many people have said things like, well, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's double poked, triple poked, and she still got it. Look at this other famous person who's all poked up and they still got it. That's what I hear on the streets. That's what's fueling more hesitancy, in my opinion, based on who I talk to, than Joe Rogan's podcast. The 36-year-old Klein went on a Twitter rant against Rogan yesterday, early Tuesday morning, for his opinions regarding the poke mandates. Now, we all saw the original tweets. There's so much more cope to go through, but we'll get to that. While Rogan had not responded to the criticism at the time of the publication, Klein was heavily castigated on social media. The narrative has gone overnight from Joe Rogan is irrelevant ever since he went to Spotify to Joe Rogan's causing the worst thing possible by explaining what medications he took to, columnist Michael Malice wrote. Ethan Klein, who has a muscle tone of flan, actually believes that he has the same body as Joe Rogan, conservative YouTuber Lauren Chen added. And you know what's funny to me? If you look at Lauren's tweet, this is a sign of a weak man. So what Ethan has to do in these scenarios is the way he feels better about himself is by ratioing people, right? So you see his reply, ratio plus baited plus intellectual heavyweight. So Ethan Klein is now pretending that this was all just a joke because that's part of Cope and Seethe. Now, 13,000 likes on Lawrence to 25,000 on Ethan, you would say that's a ratio. Except when you look at Ethan's profile, he retweeted his own reply. That's pathetic. What that is saying, I don't think my own reply can stand on its own, so I'm going to retweet my reply to make sure that I ratio this person because I'm right. And I have more Twitter followers than them. She has under 300,000. He has something like 2 million, 2.4 million. So ratioing somebody with 1/10 of your following isn't actually the accomplishment that he probably thinks it was. But now he's still going. He's still going. Fat man bad, strong man good. That's reasonable. You see, again, Ethan Klein is obsessed with the fact that Rogan took roids. Look, I'm sure Rogan was well informed on what they do and what their risks were and things like that. But again, I'm not going to focus on Ethan Klein's obvious disparity between his physical condition and Joe Rogan's, because that's low-hanging fruit. But he is here again, cope and see this meme that really got to him. This meme really got to him because it got, 25,000 likes. Sure, Rogan, the guy who said that the moon landing was not real for like 5 years, could never be a conspiracy theorist. He used to talk about that with Eddie Bravo, I think. But Joe Rogan argued with Eddie Bravo that it was real. Again, this is a bad faith take from Ethan, but I mean, this is what he does. And then he goes on, I'm confused on the analogy here. Obviously, I'm not a health expert because I'm fat, and Joe is not a conspiracy theorist because he has muscles. Another bad faith take. No, the point is, maybe you should just stay in your lane when you're talking about personal health. You're talking about a guy that had the coof and got better in 2 days or something like that. The reason he got better in 2 days, well, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know about the medicines he took, but what I can reasonably postulate is that he got better quickly because he's in peak physical condition for someone his age. I mean, that's pretty clear. And then, as always, Ethan Klein gets his lapdog Hassan I'm sure he DM'd him and was like, bro, you got to help me out here. You got to help me ratio Lauren Chen. And of course, Ethan Klein retweeted that too. This is desperation mode. And he got mad about, the article that Andy shared, which is the one we just started to read, but it was written by a right-wing grifter. So he stopped. And again, he's spending time photoshopping. I'm sure he took this out of his subreddit. But again, Rogan had a big belly for a while, and guess what? He lost that weight. Ethan, again, bad faith argument, decided that he was going to take a picture. This is when he talked about, there's a whole article about it. I mean, any idiot could find this. Hold on. There's many articles. Here it is. Here's the most recent picture. Meathead UFC Joe Rogan shows off dramatic body transformation via meat-only diet after being fat-shamed. This is him now. Okay? That's after he had the bubble gut. People think this is bubble gut from HGH, but, I mean, it wouldn't look like it unless you went off that. But I'm not an expert, right? He's 52 years old, and he looks like this. Ethan Klein is 35, and he looks like he could be in his 60s. And also points out, Keemstar never misses an opportunity, talking about, Ethan spreading misinformation. Protests did not increase the coof. Of course they did. You had tens of thousands of people packed in shoulder to shoulder. And then you see Ethan Klein publicly begged Joe Rogan to do a podcast in 2017. Ethan Klein has not been taking the rejection well. And here's the tweet. Joe Rogan, we'd love to do a podcast with you. Would be a huge honor. Appreciate ya. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to get on the Joe Rogan show, but ultimately, this scorn probably didn't sit well with him, and the whole cope and see. I mean, he's been rapid tweeting all day, trying to just save faith or save face or something like that. And now he's even going to the pathetic, it was just a joke, bro, which is even more sad. I hope you enjoyed this video, Ethan. I hope you get seriously some real help out there. Your bitterness is consuming you alive. It's making you not think straight. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.